Now, I come from a non-drinking family. Now, that doesn't say they're against drinking. They just don't drink. My father's idea of a big night was to have a beer and a half. And after that, he always used to say, he had one famous line about that. He'd say, beer gives me gas. Well, that's a good old American phrase. And he was about a beer and a half, man. And on a really wild night, my father would have, with Uncle Carl and Uncle Fred and Uncle Al, they would have what they call a shot. And that was always accompanied by snickerings and snigglings and get the kids out of the room and all that stuff, you know. And they would have what they call a shot. And, of course, you know, that was it. They always had one little bottle, and they'd pour a little thing into the shot, and then that was it. And then they also, ooh, boy, and they love to make a big thing over drinking. Have you noticed now today, when a guy drinks a martini, Skip, now this is pure alcohol, you know, after all, it's pure gin. When a guy drinks a martini, he just sips it, you know, he drinks it down. He just, he makes no more face about it than if he was drinking tea or if he was drinking Yoo-hoo or something like that. But my father was of the school of drinker, and in fact, the whole family came from that school, where drinking was considered a very sneaky and sort of a wild thing to do. So when they would take a little drink, see, they'd take this little glass and they'd go, woo, 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 woo. And all their drinking, you know, is about 45 proof. And you've seen guys do that. Make a big thing, then they take a little another sip and they go, boy, oh, boy, that'll put hair on your tongue. Wow. Woo, wowie. And they'd sit there and sip this one little drink all evening and play pinochle or something, and that was called the shot. Well, this is my idea of what drinking is about, except Bruner, of course, next door. We didn't quite know what Bruner drank. No one knew, but all we knew was that Bruner would come home on one foot and one knee. He was the only guy I know who could walk on one knee and one foot at the same time and alternate every couple of blocks. He'd change knees, you know, that kind of thing. And he was the neighborhood drunk, but no one ever really saw him drink, you know. He didn't sit on the back porch and just knock it down and yell and holler. So drinking was a kind of thing that was a peripheral activity in my family. I don't think I ever saw my father any more than drunk. No, I mean, one shot, and he would get a little wild and would start telling dirty stories, you know, that kind of stuff. Get the kids out of the room. One time, Al, there was this traveling salesman, see, and he's going through Griffith, Indiana. And, of course, he's had a flat tire on his car. And Uncle Al is sitting there, and Uncle Carl, all of them with their mouths hanging open, waiting to hear the dirty story. He's going through Griffith, Indiana, see. He's got a flat tire. Well, he gets out of the car, and he goes up. There's only one place around. A farmhouse. He goes up and knocks on the door and says, Farmer, can I stay here overnight? I have to get my car fixed in the morning. The farmer says, well, it's okay, except we've only got one bedroom. Well, I'll tell you. You know the story. Or at least you know 45 million variations of it. Well, that's what would happen after my father had one shot. Me and my kid brother are in the next room with our ears up to the hot air register, trying to hear the rest of the story, you see, and feeling very guilty about the whole scene. Well, finally, here it is. Now, you got the picture. It is now, years have passed. Do you have any passage of time music in there, Skip? Anything. Just passage of time music, I think I'll do it. That's very good. Very good. After you've gone. That's nostalgic passing of time music. After you've gone, oh, there's no denying. Now I have grown to ebullient yeasthood. I am now 16 years old. I'm eating tasty yeast to keep my complexion in line. Listen, there's nothing more male-like. There's nothing more completely male than to lie quietly in bed at night at 3 o'clock in the morning and listen to the sound of your pimples busting. At 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, don't come and tell me that that's in bad taste. I'm talking about life. Is it? I'm sorry. That's just the way life is. And there's nothing more inspiring than to see a 16-year-old going into the bathroom, saying he's standing in front of the mirror. He's got about 10 minutes before he catches the school bus, and all of a sudden he is aware that a whole new crop has grown out, you see. And, all right, I'm sorry. That's the way it is. And they don't show these commercials. Wouldn't that be a great commercial? Show this kid, you know. That's what I'm talking about, yeah. Doing what they call euphemistically in Hammond, Indiana, squeezing. You know, it's go all over the mirror, you know. Oh, man, I'll tell you, that's the story of all of our lives. And so here I am, I'm right deep in that period, and I got a summer job. Now, don't go away there. I'm going to tell you how different life is away from the P.J. Stay right here. How different life is away from the P.J. Clark orbit. I'm going to tell you about how it is out there. And so I'm 16, it is summertime, and I got myself a job working in the steel mill. This is my first experience outside of the family where the idea of a big drinking night is my father and Uncle Carl to have a clandestine shot. That was their idea of a fantastically bad night. And so now I am assigned one afternoon to what they call a bull gang. Do you know what is a bull gang? Well, I'll tell you what a bull gang is. A bull gang, no, it has nothing to do with a village. No, I'm sorry. A bull gang is a group of roving laborers. This is a labor gang. You don't know the steel mill expressions, do you? A bull gang is a group of guys who work as a roving freelance bunch of laborers. They're in a team like, and wherever they have to load 17,000 pounds of sheet metal, now they call for bull gang number 1 or bull gang number 2 or bull gang number 3. They put them in different slots. Oh, and you work like the proverbial horse. Have you ever heard the expression working like a horse? Well, let me tell you, I saw horses sitting around just picking their teeth compared to what the bull gangs. In fact, when we would be working some days, it used to make us mad. We'd be down there slaving like mad, and horses on the sidelines would talk about, oh, boy, it's like working on a bull gang, man. It's like working like a people. We would be bending over with our sweat pouring out, and so it is now about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on my first day in the bull gang, and we are working in the 40-inch soaking pits. Now, let me describe the soaking pits. I hope I'm not boring you here, because this is outside of the P.J. Clark orbit and the casual martini drinkers. Now, the 40-inch soaking pits is really an offshoot of hell. I think it's where Dante got his original ideas. Believe me, the 40-inch soaking pits consist of a series of pits dug into the ground. Now, these pits are about, I'd say, picture this in your mind, Skip. I'd say they're about 25 feet deep. Oh, they're deep pits. They're about 2 stories deep. I would say they're on an average of maybe 65 or 70, maybe even 100 feet long. And they're about maybe 60 or 40 feet wide. They're like a big, long, deep swimming pool. Now, they're lined with a special ceramic material, a kind of like a lining that's inside of a stove. It's a heavy ceramic block, heat-treated block. And these soaking pits are heated from inside. They're heated from underneath and inside by a series of electrical coils and gas jets. It's like an open barbecue pit. You got the scene? Now, they bring ingots or pigs. Now, a pig is a large chunk of iron. It's been drained off. It's not yet been made into steel. It's been drained off the big ladles, the open hearth ladles, and it's now the real stuff. It's iron, and it's a pig. It's an ingot. You know what is an ingot? The ingot is about maybe 8 or 9 feet long. It's about 4 feet square deep, and it's white hot. It is white hot. Now, they lower these white hot pigs off of flatbeds. They call them pig cars, logically. They lower them off of the pig car down into the soaking pit. And the soaking pit allows the pig, which is white hot, to cool slowly. Now, you'd think, well, how can it cool in a heated oven? Well, the oven is much cooler than the white hot pig. So if you have something that's 300 degrees, the oven, and you're lowering something that's 2,000 degrees into it, naturally that seems cold to it. And so this iron slowly begins to cool off. Now, the reason they let it cool off slowly is so that it doesn't form internal cracks and all kinds of things which come from cooling off metal too fast. So now, you got the scene? We are now working in the 40-inch soaking pits, which is, you can't believe it. The heat is incredible. Dirt, heat, crud. And that smoke is rising constantly. And they lower these things down on a platform that's covered with oil. And the oil burns as it's lowered down. Boom. And the big claws reach down. Ding, 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 ding. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. And they're loading these things in and out. And I'd say every third or fourth soaking pit is what they call cooled. That means they're cooling it down, and they are now putting new bricks inside. These bricks burn out. Well, I am on a bull gang that has been assigned to cleaning out the scale and the crud out of the bottom of a soaking pit. Incidentally, they do not allow the soaking pits to cool off. They keep the heat on while you work on it, because it takes so much money to reheat them, you see, so they just leave it go all the time. So they lower us down there, and we're wearing asbestos suits. And they lower us, each one of us, and put a suit on, like these space suits, and they've got a big trowel. And it's actually a big, long metal bar with a big scooper on the end, and you run around real fast, and you chip away at the scale down there. The scale is stuff that forms on the metal when she's lowered in. It's just like scales, scales on... You go... And you have wooden shoes. They have given each one of us a pair of thick wooden shoes that fit on the bottom of our asbestos suit. But the minute you touch the ground, the shoes start burning. Literally burning. Smoke as you... Hot. You are allowed 2.5 minutes in the soaking pit. And then you jump back up. They go... Woo! They blow the whistle. You jump back up on the little scale. Up you go. It's like a deep-sea diver, and they're lowering the other guy down. And then you run over and you sit down at the bench. Oh boy. Oh, Charlie, what am I doing here? And you get at the end of the line. There's about 40 of these guys, and each guy works up, and then it's your turn again. You got the scene? Okay. So we work all day at this. And now it is 10 minutes to 4. The shift is out at 4 o'clock. And they take all of us out. They put us in our little bus, and they're taking us back to the dressing room. There's a dressing room way at the end of the 40-inch mill where all our clothes are hanging in wicker baskets from the ceiling, all hanging down, the winter underwear, everything, and the summer clothes, and all. It's all hanging. Thousands of pairs of overalls. They hang them. You know why they hang them from the ceiling? So the rats don't get them. So everything is hung from the ceiling. So you come into this place, you're sweating. Oh, boy, you're sweating. And nobody wants to take time out even to take a shower, You've only got you want to get to the bus, the first bus, get out of this hellhole. And so everybody puts his sport shirt on. They smell to high heaven. They've been sweating 8 hours a day in the soaking pits. All you do is wipe your face off and you wipe your hands off. You put your sport shirt on. You put on your chino slacks. You put on your tennis shoes. And you run out like mad and stand by the clock house and wait for the bus to take you out to the gate. We're all standing, the bull gang. About 65 of the bull gang, a whole crowd of us. Mexicans, there were Peruvians, there were Polish, and there were Slovaks, and there was me, there were Swedes, and there were Italians, and there were Germans. There were all kinds of guys all waiting, the bull gang. And of course, we work on tonnage. The more we work, the more that the 40-inch mill turns out in the day, the more we earn. We have really turned it out this day. So we're all standing there like the Chicago Bears football team after mopping up the floor with the Giants. Just standing. Guys are chewing their tobacco. And you hear about 45 languages. What do you want, Stasha? Hey, that's Stasha. How's the boy, old Stasha? All that. That's typical steel mill words, How's the boy, Stasha? You see Stella? Oh, what a chick. Oh, that's typical humor in the steel mill. They yell and holler. So finally the bus comes, and away we go. And we're all sitting in that big, long, open bus taking us to the clock house. We go for 1 mile. A couple of guys got their lunch boxes, and they still have a salami sandwich left, and they're eating it. And you can just smell the sweat of honest labor. Boy, does it stink. The guys are yelling. Somebody goes, Hey, Stasha! Hey, Stasha! Stick your head out the window, Stasha! Maybe it'll blow the stink off you! The wind! Ha ha! That's typical steel mill humor. Now, don't come back and yell and holler, Shepard is in bad taste. This is life, friend. And this is the way it's being lived right now at this instant. In fact, in about 45 minutes, the swing shift will be coming off duty in the 40-inch soaking pits out in inland. Right now, they're beginning to look at the clock. Right at this very minute. They're back there knocking down the salt tablets, and they're looking at the clock, and they're thinking about the joint that I'm going to talk about. And somebody up at the front hollers, Hey, Stasha, you going to the Eagle? And you hear Stasha holler, what do you mean the Eagle? You want to go to the Eagle again tonight, Stan? Yeah, I'll go to the Eagle. Okay. The Eagle. I'm sitting there, this is my first day with the bull gang. It's the Eagle. What is the Eagle? I'm sitting down, and I want to be so much part of this crowd. Boy, I want to be part of it, because they all knew each other. They'd been working together for years, the whole gang. And here I was an extra man. There was about 4 of us extra guys. So we're rolling on out to the clock house. Here we are at the clock house now. And everybody goes rushing in like mad. And there's a certain, there's even a certain kind of pecking order in who gets the cards first. Big, tough guys, big bow hunks are right in the front there, and all the little guys sort of trail off behind. Boing, 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 punching the card. Oh, yeah, they're punching that old card. Boing, 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 boing. And right across the road, I noticed that as each guy would get at the end of the line, of the clockhouse line, he'd ring the thing, and he'd shoot like a rock. I figured, they're going out to catch the bus. So I'm in front of about 4 guys and behind about 30 guys, and you could just feel that edge. Come on. Hey, we're going to the Eagle. Let's go. And I am now at my clock number. Boing! I hit the bell, and the guy goes, come on, let's go, kid. Get moving. Boing! Boom! We go shooting out of the door, all of us like we're shot out of a gun, and right across this rotten, crummy steel mill road, which looks like it's made out of gravel and it's crisscrossed by 18 million high-tension wires and telephone wires and streetcar wires and lit by the flickering smoke and steam and the light flame of the blast furnace in the open hearth, is this store right directly across the store. And it has on the front of it, painted in gold, a half-baked looking eagle. This eagle had one wing that looked like a pigeon wing and another wing that looked like a robin wing and a big beak that looked like a vulture. And underneath it, its 2 claws are hanging out, and one claw's got a hold of an American flag in red, white, and blue calcimine, and the other claw's got a hold of a flag that says CIO Steelworkers Union Local 1010. The eagle. So, boom, they run like mad right across the street, and the cars are stopping, boom, into the Eagle. Well, let me tell you what the Eagle is like. The Eagle is like a one-story store that has been totally cleared out. And running from one end of the store to the next, just right down the middle of it, is a plank bar. It's made out of planks laid on sawhorses and hammered down. And down at the far end, there is a big empty Coke machine that's filled with ice. That's all. They don't have any Cokes in there. It's just filled with ice. And it's got about 8,000 bottles of beer all sticking out. They don't even have draw beer, 8,000 bottles of beer. And next to it is another great big Coke thing there, all filled with ice, and it's got bottles of whiskey in it. Just bottles of whiskey. It doesn't even have a label on it. Just big bottles of whiskey. And down at the far end, have you ever been to a catered affair and you see all those glasses? Well, at the far end, they have all knowing that the 4 to 12 shift, knowing that the 8 to 12, knowing that the 8 to 4, whatever shift it is, knowing that the shift is now making a change, they have filled up about 14,000 shot glasses with giant triple shots of this nameless poison. And they're all lined up down there, it's like a party. And these 2 bartenders, big guys named Steve and Bullock, are down there, and they got a hold of these glasses. And as each guy comes in, he hollers, give me 2, Steve! Boom! He pushes 2 out. You slap a buck down, and you get 2 of these monsters for $1. Not only do you get 2 of these monsters, if you want to throw in another 15 cents, you get a beer to chase it. Give me a beer! Give me 2 of the chaser! And boom, they go in. Well, they grab these bottles. Each guy in front of me grabs a glass of this stuff. He goes, he grabs the next one, and then he takes the bottle of beer and goes, holy smokes. He is now unwinding, Hey, hey, Stasha! Hey, Patska! Hey, Patsy! Hey, oh! And they start yelling and hollering. They're beginning to unwind, and without even thinking twice, they slap the next buck down, and they get 2 more of these babies. Well, here I am with this guy from the bull gang. He says, "Come on, kid, I'm buying." Boom, down goes his buck, and the next thing I know, I have got a glass about the size of my little Orphan Annie Ovaltine shake-up mug. I have got this glass, and it is steaming. There are little snakes crawling around in it. I can see little claws sticking out over the edge, and once in a while something with a forked tongue sticks his head out and goes, like that. And the guy who's with me, Alex, he goes, "Come on, kid, drink up. Let's get going here." And he takes his and he goes, "Give me another one. Come on, Stan, let's go." And I take mine. Well, I'm one of the bull workers now. I've got my corduroy jacket on. I've got the whole scene. I'm one of the bull workers. I got a great big thing that says Open Heart Labor on me, the button. So I take the glass and I go, whoop! And I'm holding it back, and it's inside of me that it's going. My eyeballs are sticking out, and Alex says, "Here, have a chaser." And he gives me a bottle. To me, beer was strong. Beer was strong, and I take the beer. It tastes like cold water. I couldn't even, up to this point, up to the time that I had never even been able to drink a whole beer. I'm drinking the beer just to clear my throat. I got calluses all the way down. I could feel my feet burning on the bottom. He said, "Oh, let's go. Hey, Patushka, hey, come here." I got another one in my hand. What are you going to do? They're hitting my elbow and yelling and hollering, telling dirty stories, and down goes the next one. Ooh. By the way, the next one didn't do as much as the first one. I go, ooh. Does this sound like P.J. Clark's to any of you out there, friends? Sorry, what are you worried about? What's going on? Oh, we got plenty of time. So I go reeling on out. We and about 15 other guys go reeling out. And, of course, these guys, nothing. They're not even affected at all. They're just as cool as cucumbers. They've been doing this ever since they were 5. And I sat in that bus going home. I couldn't move. I sat like I had been cast in bronze. You know how they cast baby shoes? There I was with my laces hanging out, my tongue. It was tickling. Everything was tickling all over my head, my feet. It was like everything was going to sleep, and I just sat there, and I felt embarrassed. I just sat there. My stomach was churning, and I was getting sicker and sicker. I could feel something happening down there. It was beginning to mix up with the fish that I'd had for lunch, and the salami sandwich. It's beginning to mix up with my bottle of milk. But then, funny thing. As I got closer and closer to home, I began to feel vaguely warm. I began to feel like a steel mill worker. And as I got off the bus, I hollers to this guy, "Hey, Geezer, see you tomorrow at the clock house, you slob." And out into the darkness, I was a true Friday night kid. I was right there. No heritage. Come on. So that's run of the station. Hanging there by the strap, hoping for better things. So we'll see you tomorrow night, gang. Be the first in your neighborhood to feel that tingling sensation behind the eyeball.